war I fought the hardest never made the evening news. Nobody saw the battlefield, but God saw every move. Nobody saw the 3 a.m. when I was on the floor. Nobody saw the version of me that couldn't take no more. I held it together in the daylight, gave them what they needed. Smiled through the breaking while the inside quietly bleeded out. Nobody saw the journal entries, never published. Nobody saw the prayers, it felt like throwing words to nothing. Nobody saw me white knuckling through another week, performing strength for everyone while privately too weak to carry what I carried, but I carried it regardless. The invisible endurance that the world will never notice. I lost things in that season that I'll never fully name, buried them in silence, never putting them on display. The enemy fought dirty, went after what I love, went after my identity, my calling and my trust in everything I built my understanding of life around. And I was fighting in a fog without the clearest ground. Nobody called a check, they had no reason to. The outside version of me gave them nothing to see through. So I fought the whole thing private, fought it raw and fought it real, a war with no memorial and no moments at the heel. Nobody saw the battle, nobody heard the sound of everything inside me rattle. Nobody saw the nights I nearly didn't make the morning. Nobody saw the war, but I won it without warning. The victory was quiet like the battle that it followed. Nobody saw me fight, but God saw every hollow place I fought from, every broken night I chose to stay. Nobody saw the battle, but somebody won today. Somewhere in the middle of the dark I found a ledge, not too far from, just enough to stand on at the edge of giving up. A ledge call, this is not the end of you. A ledge call, God is in this room, even if you can't feel it's true. I didn't get a visitation, didn't get a sign, just a stubborn kind of staying past the end of the line that I had drawn for myself. Just a breath and then another, just the morning coming back despite the night before it covered everything in question. And I got up anyway, not because I felt the faith, because I chose to stay inside to fight a little longer. Chose the next rep over rest, chose to trust the process even when the process felt like less than nothing. And the truth and built the man I didn't plan, built a density of character that comfort never can. Produced the pressure, formed something that easy life couldn't. A man who knows what he survived because a lot of people wouldn't. And now I walk through rooms with something settled in my chest, not arrogance, just evidence of passing every test that tried to take me out, and none of them completed what they came for. The weapons had a plan and God had something greater. I look back at the battlefield with different eyes today, not trauma, just a testimony of the price I had to pay to become what I am now and what I'm still becoming. The war nobody witnessed was the war that kept me running toward the person God intended from before my very name. And the battle I fought hidden was the battle that became my greatest qualification. Everything I carry now, I earned it in the silence, in the dark, and that's my vow. Nobody saw the battle, but the battle made me. Nobody saw the night, but the nights couldn't break me. The war was real, the wounds were real, the cost was everything, but the God who saw it all was orchestrating something that the enemy intended as my ending. Became my beginning, every scar a new ascending. Nobody saw the battle, but the battle has been won. And who I am right now is proof of everything I've overcome. The war that nobody witnessed produced the man that everyone will see.
Yeah. Everything they see me carry, I built it when nobody watched. God was the only witness, and the pressure was the cost. Yeah. 5 a.m., no crowd, no noise, just iron and intention in the absence of the boys who show up for the highlight, but they never see the grind. The version of me nobody wants to see is where I find the real one. I built this in the basement, not the stage. I built this in the seasons where the enemy had caged my potential in the pressure of a life that wasn't working. I built this in the silence while the whole world kept on turning without me. Didn't need the clapping, didn't need the room. Like walked in with the calling in the middle of the gloom. No validation, no affirmation, no one checking in, just me and God. And everything I had to build within the rest, nobody counted. I still counted everyone the nights nobody loved. I loved them, every single one. The sacrifice was private, but the sacrifice was real. You can't fake what I'm carrying, you can only feel the density of someone who was built in the dark, who didn't need a spotlight to ignite the spark, who did the work regardless of the outcome or the crowd. Built in silence, now the silence getting loud. Built in the dark, yeah, they couldn't see it. Built in the dark, but God was in it. No light, no crowd, no noise, no stage. Built in the dark, that's where I was made. Built in the dark, pressure made it solid. Built in the dark, discipline was honest. Everything I am was forged before the fame. Built in the dark, and I'll never be the same. Yeah. Let me tell you what the darkness taught me: patience and precision. That the man who works in secret is the man of real decision. That character ain't built when everybody's watching close. It's built at midnight when you're giving what it hurts the most. You give the rep you didn't want, the prayer you almost skipped, the word you chose with discipline. When ego nearly slipped, the moment you kept going when the feeling said to stop. I learned more in the basement than I ever learned at the top of any platform. God was my professor in the dark, teaching me the difference between the calling and the spark, between the flash of talent and the life of built on stone, between performing for the crowd and knowing God alone. The diamond doesn't apologize for what the pressure made it. The steel don't ask permission for the fire that upgraded. It's molecular integrity, it just endures the heat and comes out. It's something that was never meant for cheap defeat. So I walk into the room different, I carry something real, not a surface level polish, something nobody can steal. Because nobody gave it, it was built to what I paid. In the dark, in the silent, in the private, in the trade of comfort for the calling, easy for the truth, surface for the substance, applause for something new, which is a man who doesn't need the audience to know that what was built in darkness is the realest thing I own. Built in the dark, they see it now though. Built in the dark, the roots go deep below what anyone can measure, what anyone can touch. Built in the dark, and built by God, and that's enough. Built in the dark, the pressure was the process. Built in the dark, the silence was the office where God worked on something that the world had never seen. Built in the dark, I'm the proof of what that means. Built in the dark, yeah, built in the dark. The whole world tried to dim it, couldn't kill the spark. God lit in me before the spotlight had a name. Built in the dark, and nothing built like this is pain. Everything built for the light was first built where no one could see, and that's what makes it unbreakable. I survived a version of myself I thought would be the last one. Grace found me in the dark and made the darkness feel less massive. Yeah. I was running from a feeling I couldn't put a name on, carrying a weight that had no labeling, no fame song. Yeah, written for it, nobody makes the playlist for this pain. The kind of live so quiet that it shows up in the rain. On a Tuesday when you're fine and then you're suddenly not, replaying every moment and the things that you forgot to protect yourself from. I was hollow in the chest, doing all the right things while the inside failed the test of being okay. I had the language, but not the peace. Had the testimony, but the turmoil wouldn't cease. I prayed the prayers, I read the chapter, said the words, but something in the foundation had developed in the cracks, and I was keeping up appearances while privately concerned that the version of me people saw was one I hadn't earned. Just borrowed for the season and the loan was coming due, and I didn't know what I would look like when they finally saw through it. Grace hit different when I had nothing left to offer. Grace hit different at the bottom of the water. When I stopped performing and I let the real me surface, grace came running like it always knew my purpose. Hit different, not like Sunday morning feeling. Hit different, like
something shifted on the morning I can't fully reconstruct. Just woke up in the heaviness, it loosened up a touch. Not gone, but different, like the light, it found an angle. And through a window that I kept shut since the painful season started. And I sat inside the quiet, and instead of fighting it, I let the silence ride. Through the rooms I kept locked in myself for preservation. And God walked into every single one without an invitation. And didn't renovate, just sat with me inside. And didn't clean the mess up, just refused to hide from what I actually was beneath the version I projected in. For the first time in a long time, I felt genuinely accepted. Not for what I built or what I was becoming, but for what was sitting in the rubble, still in humming. With a life I hadn't noticed was still present in the wreckage. Grace didn't come with judgment, grace came with a message that said I saw the whole thing, every chapter, every cost. I saw the nights you held it and the nights you felt it lost. I saw the performance and the person behind the performance, and I chose you at your worst. That's what the grace meant. So now I move through life with something different in my posture. Not the confidence of someone who has never faced disaster, but the confidence of someone who has faced it and been found by a grace that didn't flinch at any part of what it found. Oh, grace hit different when I finally stopped explaining. Grace hit different, it came in while it was raining. Didn't wait for me to clean up or to get it right. Grace hit different in the middle of the night. Hey, hit different, not performance, not religion. Hit different, like a love that made a decision to find me at my lowest and refuse to let me go. Grace hit different, and I'll never be the same, I know. I used to think grace was for people who had smaller problems. Turns out grace is specifically sized for whatever you're carrying. It doesn't run out, it doesn't flinch. It just hits different when you finally let it. Grace didn't find the best version of me. It found a real one, and it stayed.
They tried to bury me.
They tried to bury me.
Didn't know I was a seed. The pressure they applied was the very thing I need. Hey. Yeah. Kind of pressure that produces or destroys. Didn't have the luxury of comfort or the safety and noise that drowns out what is happening. I heard every crack, every wall that came down, every bridge that didn't come back. They attacked the foundation thinking I would fall without it. Stripped away the scaffolding to see what I was bout it made of. And the answer was something they miscalculated, something refined enough to stand when everything else vacated. I lost the job that I had built my confidence around, lost the relationship, the circle, lost the familiar ground, lost the version of myself that needed all those things to feel like someone worth the calling, and discovered what was real was underneath the layers of the borrowed and the built on. The man that got it formed before the pressure habits built on him, the man before the titles and the validation loop. That man was still there, standing in the rubble. That's the proof that what they sent to break me was a throne room in disguise. Every way to coronation that I couldn't recognize until the smoke had cleared and I was different in the frame, broader in the shoulders. Kings are never born the same. That made in fire, made in pressure, made in night, made in seasons where the only thing you have is fight and faith, and the two together in the furnace make a thing that crowns and comfort never could. The pressure made a king, pressure made a king. Yeah, the pain was the process. Pressure made a king. Out of everything I lost, this is what remains. wish, cause I've been inside it literally. The heat that got permitted wasn't punishing, it was smithery. Forging in the fire with the comfortable life couldn't make a man a tested substance. Not a man of polished face. Daniel in the lion's den didn't flinch. He'd been prepared by every private discipline and every silent prayer that nobody witnessed. But the preparation was the kingdom. The throne room was access through the faithfulness before him. Joseph in the pit, didn't know the pit was prep school. Didn't know the prison was the prerequisite in threshold for the palace. Every suffering was structured education in the sovereign plan of God. Nah, punishment formation, and I am in that lineage, not by blood but by the process. But a God who takes the broken and creates from it a fortress of a man that couldn't have been built by any other way than exactly what I walked through to arrive at who I am today. I don't wear the scars like wounds, I wear them like a garment of someone who was tested in the test and proved the argument that God had made concerning me before I had a name. The pressure was the proving, and I passed it all the same. So I enter every room now with a different kind of standing. Not the arrogance of ego, the authority of landing, not the falling and surviving what was meant to be the end of the story. God was writing past the chapter they had penned.
Pressure made a king.
Not the crown, but the character.
Pressure made a king.
God was the manufacturer of everything I carry, every gift inside this frame.
Pressure made a king.
And the kingdom bears his name.
Pressure made a king.
Out of ashes, out of loss.
Pressure made a king.
And the throne was built on a cross. Every giant that I faced was just a step toward the core.
Pressure made a king.
And the king was built to stand tall.
Pressure made a king.
Yeah, every enemy that sent the heat, they funded the dream. Every night they thought would break me, added to the seam of a man sewn together by the hands of the supreme. Pressure made a king, and the kingdom is his. They applied the pressure, God applied the purpose, and what came out the other side was never meant for the dirt. It was always meant for the throne. The pressure that was meant to end your story was actually writing the greatest chapter of it.
Pressure made a king.
The further I get from where I started, the easier it is to forget what carried me. I wanna be honest about what happens when things start working, when the prayers get answered and the grinding stops hurting as much as it did when the doors begin to open and the life you used to pray for starts to feel like something chosen by your own two hands. That's where the subtle shift begins, not in the obvious failures, but the slow forgetting wins. The gratitude that shortens as the blessing becomes normal. The God you ran to desperate now approach more like a formal obligation. Check the box, set the prayer, read the page, moved on to the calendar and everything that came after. I've been there, I'll be honest, I've been there, where the need felt less urgent because life felt less bare. I've walked into rooms that once required me to pray with the confidence that came from me and not from what he say. I'm taking credit in my mind for outcomes he produced, and slowly, quietly, the dependency got loose. Not rebellion, not backsliding in the obvious sense, just the gradual forgetting of the man who was more bent on his knees. The man who had no option but to trust because the circumstances made self-sufficiency combust. And now the circumstances are more favorable and I have to choose dependence when I don't always feel like I can't do this alone. And that's the harder kind of faith to maintain, the need for God when life is giving you some space. I still need God, not just when I'm falling. I still need God through the seasons when he's calling. Feels optional because the ground beneath me feels stable. I still need God at the head of every table. Yeah, not the emergency contact, not the last resort. I still need God the way I needed him before the doors open. I still need him at the top. Oh, I still need God, and I'm not gonna stop saying it until the saying keeps me honest. I still need God, and that's the truest promise I can make to myself and to the one who brought me here. I still need God in this success, not just the fear. Yeah. Paul wrote Philippians from a prison, not a palace, and said he learned contentment, not without some callous. Moments not without the having and the lacking both. He needed God in plenty just as much as in the growth from nothing. And that's the lesson that the comfortable miss, that abundance has its own temptation, its own abyss of self-reliance dressed in gratitude and blessing language, while the actual dependence quietly gets managed. Out of the equation, I look at what I built, and sometimes I can feel the very edges of that tilt toward owning what I'm carrying, so calling it my own. So standing in the harvest and forgetting what was sown by hands that weren't completely mine, by grace I didn't earn, by open doors I didn't pick the locks for, by the turn of every circumstance that could have gone the other way but didn't. And that didn't wasn't luck, that was his say over my story. And the moment that I own it like I made it, it's the moment that the foundation starts to get degraded under something that looks solid but is standing on my strength, which has a very human and a very finite length. So I come back to the posture that has never failed me yet, the one that keeps my hands open and my spirit in the debt of grace. Not shame, not groveling, just honest in the knowing that the God who got me started is the God that keeps me going. Oh, more than the version of me knew when I had less. God to carry me through the days that feel like I've got this. Those are the dangerous ones, when the battles feel like they've already been won. When the prayers feel like maintenance and not desperation. That's not weakness, that's foundation. I've learned enough to know I haven't learned enough to stand alone. I still need God, and I'm good with where I am. The goal was never to outgrow the need. The goal was to grow into a man who chooses dependence even when independence feels available. That's the maturity nobody talks about. Still needing God when you don't have to. That's the truest faith I've found. The most dangerous version of success is the one that makes you feel like you don't need the one who gave it.
They threw me in to destroy me. They didn't know the fire had a different assignment. Yeah. Huh. Huh. Yeah. I've been inside a heat that had no bottom and no ceiling, where the only thing remaining was the praying and the kneeling on the floor that kept on burning. Couldn't find the cool side, losing things I thought were permanent and what felt like a landslide of God's absence. That's how it felt. I won't sanitize the season. I was deep inside the furnace, looking everywhere for reason, for the burning, for the stripping, for the taking without warning of everything I built my understanding of life on before the morning came and took it. Relationships that form my sense of worth, gone. The confidence I carried since my proving on this earth, gone. The plan I built for 27 years of forward, gone in one direction and I didn't know it toward meant anymore. I stood inside the ash of what had been, and the enemy was surgical with everything he'd seen of what I valued. Targeted the deepest and the most dear and ignited it precisely, leaving nothing but the fear that this was permanent, that broken was my final state, that the fire was informative, that fire was just fate, coming for a man who was never meant to make it through. I entertained that thought for longer than I'll admit to you, but something in the furnace, and I need you to hear this clearly, something in the center of the heat, I felt it nearly imperceptible at first, a presence in the flame, something standing in the fire that the fire couldn't claim. Chosen through the fire, not despite it, through it, chosen through the fire. God was in it, always knew it. The flame that tried to finish me was finishing the work of
carries no guilt.
Let me tell you what I found when I stopped fighting. The fire stopped trying to escape and start negotiating higher ground outside the burning. When I let the heat be heat, something in the theology became something concrete. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, they didn't leave the furnace. They were found inside it by the one, a holy purpose, walking in the center of the thing designed to end them. The fire couldn't touch them, it could only just attend them to the presence of the holy. And I felt it not the same way, not identical in miracle, but similar in the day that I started calling God absent from the season of the burning and started looking for him in the fire that was the turning. And he was there. I know it sounds like comfort language, but I felt the shift in the pressure before I found the language for it. Something underneath me in the hottest of the heat that held my weight when I had nothing left that kept me on my feet. Now removed from the fire, established in it, not rescued from the trial. A company within it, and the things that were only things that had to go. Chains I didn't know I wore, if I was how to know that freedom sometimes feels like losing everything you're holding. Like the only path to who you're meant to be is through the molding of a fire that the Father both permitted and was in. Not what you were after the burning is where you should have been. The assignment wasn't suffering, the assignment was the after. The man that emerges from the furnace, that's the chapter. God was writing while the enemy thought he was winning. The fire was a doorway,
And I walked through the beginning.
Chosen through the fire.
And I'll wear it like a garment.
Chosen through the fire.
Every scar is an argument for the God who was present when the presence wasn't felt.
Chosen through the fire.
This is the hand I was dealt, and I wouldn't trade the furnace for the life I had before it.
Chosen through the fire.
And the chosen can't ignore it. The destiny that waited on the other side of pain.
Chosen through the fire.
I was never just a flame.
Chosen
Before the fire started.
Chosen
Before the season left me broken hearted.
Chosen
Inside the burning, in the middle of the cost.
Chosen through the fire.
And the chosen can't be lost. The fire had a name for what it was doing to me. Preparation. And the one who called me was standing in the middle of it, making sure only the right things burned. You weren't thrown into the fire to be destroyed. You were sent through it to be revealed.